Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana 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 Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Jaya Śrī Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Śrī Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Radha Madhav Jaya Radha Madhav Radha Madhav Jaya Radha Madhav Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva, Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva. Jaya Prahlad Nrsimha, Jaya Prahlad Nrsimha, Jaya Prahlad Nrsimha, Jaya Prahlad Nrsimha. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura Hari Bol. Shri Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Nigamakalpataruragalitam phalam sukamukadamrita drvasamyutam vibhata bhagavatam rasamalayam uraho rasika bhuvi bhavaka narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udhirayet nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavat Yuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Creation, Chapter number 13. Dhritarashtra quits home. Text number 49. Soyam adya mahārāja bhagavān bhūta-bhāvanaḥ kāla-rūpo avatīrṇo syām abhāvāya sura-dviṣām soyam adya mahārāja bhagavān bhūta-bhāvanaḥ kāla-rūpo vatīrṇo syām abhāvāya sura-dviṣām soyam adya mahārāja bhagavān bhūta-bhāvanaḥ kāla-rūpo vatīrṇo syām abhāvāya sura-dviṣām soyam adya mahārāja bhagavān bhūta-bhāvanaḥ kāla-rūpo vatīrṇo syām abhāvāya sura-dviṣām. Soyam adya mahārāja bhagavān bhūta-bhāvanaḥ kāla-rūpo vatīrṇo syām abhāvāya sura-dviṣām. Soyam adya mahārāja bhagavān bhūta-bhāvanaḥ kāla-rūpo vatīrṇo syām abhāvāya sura-dviṣām. Soyam adya mahārāja bhagavān bhūta-bhāvanaḥ kāla-rūpo vatīrṇo syām abhāvāya sura-dviṣām. Matajis. Soyam adya mahārāja bhagavān bhūta-bhāvanaḥ kāla-rūpo vatīrṇo syām abhāvāya sura-dviṣām. Soyam adya mahārāja bhagavān bhūta-bhāvanaḥ kāla-rūpo vatīrṇo syām abhāvāya sura-dviṣām. Soyam adya mahārāja bhagavān bhūta-bhāvanaḥ kāla-rūpo vatīrṇo syām abhāvāya sura-dviṣām. Saha, that Supreme Lord, ayam, the Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa, adya, at present, mahārāja, O King, bhagavān, the Personality of Godhead, bhūta-bhāvanaḥ, the Creator or the Father of everything created, kāla-rūpaḥ, in the disguise of all-devouring time, avatīrṇaḥ, descended, asyām, upon the world, abhāvāya, for eliminating, sura-dviṣām, those who are against the will of the Lord. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation, please repeat. That Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa, in the guise of all-devouring time, kāla-rūpa, has now descended on earth to eliminate the envious from the world. Purport. There are two classes of human beings, namely the envious and the obedient. Since the Supreme Lord is one and the Father of all living beings, the envious living beings are also His sons, but they are known as the Asuras. But the living beings who are obedient to the Supreme Father are called devatās or demigods, because they are not contaminated by the material conception of life. Not only are the Asuras envious of the Lord in even denying the existence of the Lord, but they are also envious of all other living beings. The predominance of Asuras in the world is occasionally rectified by the Lord when he eliminates them from the world and establishes a rule of devatās like the Pandavas. His designation as Kala in disguise is significant. He is not at all dangerous, but he is the transcendental form of eternity, knowledge and bliss. For the devotees, his factual form is disclosed, and for the non-devotees, he appears like kāla-rūpa, which is the causal form. This causal form of the Lord is not at all pleasing to the Asuras, and therefore they think of the Lord as formless in order to feel secure that they will not be vanquished by the Lord. Om Jnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Bangam Langaite Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shrigaram Dinadaranam Paramanandamadam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Katanjana Smriti Yasmin Dushkaram Sukharam Bhavet Vismriti Paritam Syat Shri Chaitanyam Namamitam Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhaktivinoda Namaham Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Jai Pataka Swami Namni Nama Acharya Padani Takpapadani Gaura Gadadam Dayana Karaktarani Hariam Tatsat. Hare Krishna, I'll read the translation again. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa, in the guise of all-devouring time, kāla-rūpa, has now descended on earth to eliminate the envious from the world. Hare Krishna. So we are in this chapter, Dhritarashtra quits home after the apparent chastisement from Vidura. Dhritarashtra decided to leave the home along with Gandhari. Dhritarashtra, Vidura, Gandhari left the home, and in the morning Yudhishthira Mahārāja was looking for his uncles and he could not find, so he was very perplexed what happened to them. Then he went to Sanjaya to inquire the whereabouts of Vidura, Dhritarashtra and Gandhari. And Sanjaya was also not aware. He was also equally shocked and perplexed about not finding them in the palace. So when they were worried about this, suddenly Narad Muni appeared and he was trying to pacify them by giving specific knowledge and instruction to them about how one should not be too much worried about these things. And eventually he told them that they have gone to Himalayas, southern part of the Himalayas, which we will see in the later verses. So this is the background of this section of Srimad Bhagavatam. So here, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada makes a clear distinction about two classes of human beings. One is envious, and the other one is obedient. So Prabhupada mentions here they are envious not only of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even to the extent of concluding that the Lord do not exist. And also, not only that, but also they are envious of the devotees who are followers of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the obedient are those who firmly have faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead and are following the guidelines and instructions provided by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So these are two classes of men Srila Prabhupada is discussing here from this purport. The Krishna reciprocates with his devotees according to the extent or the mood in which we deal with him. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, ye tamam prapadyante tamstataiva vachamyaham. To whatever extent we surrender, Krishna reciprocates accordingly. So it's very important for us to understand as practicing devotees that what we should do. Sometimes we always contemplate to what extent we should render devotional service. What should be the guiding factor? How much time we should spend in devotional service? The answer to that question is how quickly we want to get out of this, the deep struggle of this material existence. Janma, mrityu, jara, vyadi, birth, old age, disease, death. How quickly we want to get out of this cycle. So if you want to get out of this cycle very quickly, then we should earnestly, sincerely practice devotional service, surrender unto Krishna and his devotees, and then get out of this Bhava Samudra as quickly as possible. So the choice is ours. All the facilities, everything is available with us. It's not that it's hidden. No, everything is available. So it's up to us as to how quickly we want to take it up and how sincerely and how earnestly we want to practice this and then go back home, back to Godhead. All these guidelines, the process involved, everything is provided through Guru Sadhu Shastra, through the spiritual master, through the acharyas, through the scriptures. All this information is available, guidance is available, everything is available. So it's up to us how quickly we want to take it up. And this is, for this reason, Srila Prabhupada has created International Society for Krishna Consciousness. One of the prime reasons of Srila Prabhupada creating International Society for Krishna Consciousness is to understand who the Supreme Personality of Godhead is. What are his names? What are his qualities? What are his pastimes? How Krishna loves his devotees? How Krishna loves all the living entities? What is the information about the supreme abode, which is beyond this material manifestation? All these things we have to know. And for this purpose, Srila Prabhupada created the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, to understand who God is, to understand who we are. We are not this body but spirit soul. And what is our relationship with the Supreme Lord? And what activities that we need to perform? and what is the ultimate goal of life. So this is the facility which Srila Prabhupada has created for all of us to practice. It is not something that Srila Prabhupada just like that formed. No, it is based on the Acharya's instructions. This entire Krishna consciousness movement is based on the guidelines provided by Srila Rupa Goswami in the Nectar of Instruction. In the preface, it starts like this. Srila Prabhupada starts like this. This entire Krishna conscious movement is based on Srila Rupa Goswami's guidelines and instructions. So it is very authentic. And Srila Rupa Goswami is an ardent follower of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. So it's a very authentic facility. And we are very fortunate to be part of this authentic facility. We are trying to make use of this facility in order to get out of the cycle of birth, old age, disease and death. So Srila Prabhupada created this institution, and then he formed various committees, and then he gave us different types of books in an easily understandable way. So all these things are available for us. It is just for us to make a sincere endeavor in order to understand this and then move ahead in devotional service. Then Krishna gives all the intelligence, how to go back home, back to Godhead. Some may think, oh, we don't even understand what this material world is. How can we understand what is spiritual world? We may be contemplating about this. Material world itself is too huge. The various scientists are doing a lot of research. What is this? What is the beginning and end of this material world? Because it's not small. They are doing so much of imaginations and assumptions in order to understand what this material world is. And then what to speak of spiritual world, which is beyond the imagination or conception of the human brains. So it is not possible. So we have to look for an authoritative source in order to understand these things. What is that authoritative source which is beyond all mistakes or imperfections? That is none other than Krishna. None other than Krishna. He's called Apaurusya. Right? Nobody can understand him. Nobody can understand his creation fully unless he reveals. That's why these set of scriptures are called as revealed scriptures. It's not man-made. It is made known to us by the Supreme Lord himself. So we have to reach that abode of Krishna to get out of this cycle of birth and both old age, disease and death. And all these facilities are provided for that purpose. Normally it is difficult. Because the Maya Shakti of the Lord is very strong. Bhagavān says, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Devihi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratya. It's very difficult to overcome. This divine energy of mine is very difficult to overcome. Mam evaye prapadyante mayam etantaranti. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross over it. So we need not have the doubt. How can we reach the spiritual world? How can we go to Goloka Vrindavana? Krishna shows the path here. Those who have surrendered unto him can easily go back. So that way, when we follow Krishna's guidelines, then we can easily go back to Krishna. Go back home, back to Godhead and render our eternal service to Krishna. But unfortunately, we are into this material world, which is created for our purpose, in order to satisfy our desires, to enjoy away from Krishna. For that purpose, this material world is created. Krishna created that in order to satisfy our desires, material desires. So Krishna is very merciful. So he created a situation where we think we can enjoy this facility. And then Krishna also understands that we cannot permanently enjoy in this place. We cannot get permanent happiness. So Krishna has created all these facilities, all these situations like scriptures, temples, sending wonderful acharyas to guide us how we can come out of this situation. So all these things it's provided. So if we simply follow these situations, guidelines, the facilities, then we can easily cross over this. Otherwise it's going to be very, very difficult. So sometimes we get into the argument of thinking, oh, it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshyo sina priya. Krishna is equal to everyone. Krishna is not, Krishna do not see any difference between living entities. He is the father of all living entities. So why he should give suffering to one set of living entities and keep some set of living entities happy? So Krishna is not partial. Krishna is partial. So we get into some argument, something like that. No, Krishna is not partial. Krishna is equal to all. Krishna is providing all these facilities to everyone. All the facilities are provided to everyone, every living entity. But it's up to us how to make use of these facilities. Srila Prabhupada explains, if there is a very, very charitable person is there, he gives charity to everyone. But he has a special affection for his children. Nobody will find fault with him. Similarly here, Krishna is providing all facilities to everyone, but those who have surrendered unto him, he reciprocates with them accordingly. That is construed by some set of individuals as being partial. No, it is not partial. It is not partial. He is showing special affection because the devotees are surrendering unto him, so he is showing special affection. If anybody else surrender unto him, Krishna will also show them special mercy. So that way, he's equal to all. But some people say, no. If Krishna is present, if Krishna is equal, why people are suffering? Why there is crime? Well, because this is our desire. So 8.4 million species of lives are created, the bodies are created, different bodies are created in order to make these living entities enjoy or suffer according to their desires. Different varieties of desires are there. Desires at lower conscious level, desires at higher conscious level, pure consciousness level. So many different desires are there. So in order to fulfill various desires of the living entities, different forms are created. Facilities are provided by Krishna. Some in the form of a dog or a cat or a hog. The hogs feel very happy when they are in the gutter. They eat the stool and they become very happy, and then they enjoy in sex life. Prabhupada mentions in one of the purports. The hogs enjoy. If you call, oh hog, please come and take Charanamrita. Oh no, I'm very happy here. The hog says, I'm very happy here, don't disturb me. Hey, don't disturb me, go that side. And when devotees go to general people in the world, please come and read Bhagavad Gita, please take this one. Hey, don't disturb, get up. They drive us out. This is a hog mentality. They don't know what is real happiness is. So if we are in that consciousness, then who can help us? Who can help us? So that's the problem. That's the real problem. Hog mentality, dog mentality. People are in the mood of following different nationalities. Oh, in the West everybody is advanced. In the East everybody is very poverty stricken. So we differentiate based on the location, based on the bodily appearance. Right? It's like if you go to, the dogs have this mentality, you know. In one street there will be a group of dogs. If one dog come outside of that street, immediately these dogs will start fighting. All this fighting will happen between the dogs. Because one dog is coming from outside that street. It's considered as an alien. We also do that. Although we have a highest level of consciousness provided in this human form, we also do this. We enter any country without visa, they will drive us out. So these are happening. All these things are happening. And we have great institutions like United Nations to see how to get peace and things like that. But we will not achieve peace unless we come to the spiritual platform. Unless we come to the spiritual platform, there is no question of discussion or reaching about the subject matter of peace. We don't know who Krishna is, who is the real enjoyer. We think we are the enjoyers. As long as we think we are the enjoyers, then there is no peace. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarva loka maheshwaram suhurdam sarva bhutanam nyatva mam shantim richyati. So one should understand who is the real enjoyer, who is the owner and controller of all the worlds, material and spiritual. Sarva loka maheshwaram. And who is the friend of all living entities. When we have this knowledge, we'll get peace. This is the peace formula which Prabhupada mentions in that purport. Chapter 5, text 29. So here Prabhupada is mentioning how the Supreme Lord rectifies the predominance of the Asuras. So every now and then, Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa need to appear in order to rectify the predominance of Asuras. So we all know, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutanam adharmasya tadatmanam shrujamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. After every interval of time, Krishna appears in order to protect the devotees, annihilate the demons, to re-establish the religious principles in dharma. So Krishna has to do that again and again and again. So when Krishna does that for the Asuras, when he removes Asuras, again we will come to the point why Krishna is killing Asuras. And Krishna is protecting the devotees and killing Asuras. So it's like this, a cat holding a kitten and a cat holding a rat. That's the difference. Same mouth is holding the kitten and the rat. The same mouth. The kitten is feeling well protected when the cat is holding the kitten. But the rat is in great fear when the cat is holding a rat in its mouth. So this is exactly the situation between Asuras and the devotees of the Lord. The devotees feel very well protected, very, very well protected. Sometimes we have a question, oh Prabhu, why Krishna takes all the wealth from the devotees, all the opulences from the devotees? Sometimes it happens. When some newcomers in Krishna consciousness, we all have gone through that. When we enter into Krishna consciousness, suddenly we get some huge loss of money or something like that happens. Why it happens? So that means Krishna. The reason why this went away is because you are worshipping Krishna, everything is went away. So we should not worship Krishna. That's one set of people who are into that. When we go for preaching, we have some set of people who come with this kind of excuse for not attending or coming to the classes. Yeah? Some set of people are there. So Prabhupada gives a beautiful example in the Kunti's prayers section of the first canto. In one of the purports, Prabhupada mentions, if somebody has a very high fever, somebody is having a very high fever, when the fever gets down, will we become happy or sad? Obviously we will be happy because we have knowledge that when fever comes down from 102 to 101 to 100 to 99, 98, everybody will be happy because it's the sign of cure of the disease. When the material opulences move away from us, it is a sign of advancement. It's a sign of advancement because our material attachment goes away slowly. so that we can focus more and more on the spiritual advancement. Janma Aishwarya Shruta Shribir Yetamana Mahapuman Naivarhatya Didatum Vai Tvama Kinchana Gochanam. Maharani Kunti is praying. High birth, and then wealth, beauty. So all these things could become an impediment on the path of devotional service. So sometimes Krishna removes these things from the life of devotees. It happened in Srila Prabhupada's life also. Srila Prabhupada was initially thinking that by doing his pharmaceutical business, he can generate more wealth and then he can fulfill his spiritual master's desires. But Krishna had a different plan. He removed, that business became a heavy loss. And Prabhupada understood, okay, it's Krishna's will to handle in a different way. So one should not get disturbed when these sorts of situations happen in our life, which do happen in everyone's life. So Krishna has a different plan. When we are in Krishna's hand, then we should not worry too much about these things. The worry comes when we are not putting ourselves under Krishna's protection. That's where the worry is. So the point here is the Asuras. Asuras are also getting benefit by being killed by Krishna, because their number of sins are reduced. If they are allowed to live, their sins will keep on increasing again, more and more and more and more. So there is a full stop kept. Akrura is praying. He was amazed by the mercy of Krishna. Akrura is praying, oh my dear Lord, how can you give a position of a mother for somebody who has come to kill you? He is talking about Putana. He is talking about Putana. So Krishna has given the position of a mother for somebody who has come to kill him. Everybody was seeing in the assembly of Rajasuya when Krishna killed the Shishupala. The soul entered the body of Krishna. How is it possible? That's the mercy of Krishna. So this is a special mercy of Krishna, that this type of situations are happening. So in this Kali-yuga, in this material world, in this Kali-yuga, you see everybody is demoniac. Kalau Shambhava Shudra, nobody has proper intelligence. I was reading one article sometime before. One of the disciples of Srila Prabhupada had to enter into a surgery operation theatre in Mumbai. So Prabhupada was in Juhu temple at that time, and he was rushing towards the hospital. Because in those days, the telephones and other things were not so much in practice. So he was traveling in the huge traffic jam. He was stuck. It took a few hours for him to reach that place. But before he could reach there, this disciple was taken inside the operation theatre. So in the theatre, they had given this devotee, this disciple, anesthesia, and then they asked him to count 10, 9, 8, like that he was counting. When it came to 7, he stopped counting, and then he was visualizing the beautiful arti of Radha Madhava Shasaki. That arti was this thing, and then he had a dream. In that dream, all the acharyas of the Sampradaya were asking Srila Prabhupada, please give us a report of your preaching in this material world, in this Kali-yuga. So Prabhupada, in the dream, he is narrating. So Prabhupada is telling them, oh my dear acharyas, I can't give them knowledge, I can't give them anything, because their intelligence is lost, they don't have proper culture, so much difficulty. I could do only one thing to some extent, that is, they all have taken shelter at my lotus feet. That's the only thing I could do, nothing else I could do. So and after that surgery was over, and then they came and Prabhupada told him that, yeah, I want you to do this surgery in America, not here. Then he narrated this dream. Then Prabhupada said, yes, is it not true? So it is true. So the point here is, so Prabhupada, the devotees like Acharyas like Srila Prabhupada, because of their mercy only we can be cured from our existing situation. That is exactly the mood of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We are all demoniac by our thoughts, by our deeds, by our so many different practices before taking up to Krishna consciousness. But by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a mercy incarnation. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha. By the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we all could get the opportunity to taste the bliss of Krishna consciousness, to taste the holy name, which is non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. We have a vivid example which we have seen, which we have heard many times from the lives of Jagai and Madai. Although they have taken birth in the family of Brahmanas, but by their activities, they were very, very demoniac in nature. So they were given special mercy. Krishna Prema is given. Who else can give something like that? So unless we get the special mercy from the Acharyas, from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no question of any hope for us. This is the greatest of hopes created by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the Acharyas in our Sampradaya, and particularly A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada and his followers. Without their presence, without their efforts, without their hard work, we would not be here today. So this is a special mercy. We may be thinking about demons of the past ages. Actually, we are the demons with demoniac tendencies in our heart. Lord Nityananda is telling to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, oh my dear Lord, please don't kill these demons. Don't kill Jagai and Madai. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard that Lord Nityananda and Haridas Chakur was hurt physically and the blood is oozing from their head, he became very angry. He took his Sudarshan Chakra, was going to vanquish them. But Lord Nityananda prayed, oh my dear Lord, then you have to kill the whole world, because everybody has demoniac tendency in their heart. Then the special mercy started flowing in the form of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He distributed Hare Krishna Mahamantra to everyone. And he instructed everyone to distribute this to everyone without any qualification. Even without qualification, one can take up to these holy names. He opened the storehouse of Krishna Prema to everyone. So without any qualification, without any specific guidelines, one can chant the holy names of the Lord. He opened it. That's how we can purify our heart. All the demoniac, all the dirt accumulated for thousands and thousands of lifetimes, all these things will get cleansed of. Cheto darpanamarjanam vapamaha davagni nirvapanam. It gets cleansed of by the chanting of the holy names of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's a special mercy. A similar thing was done by Sri Ramanujacharya of the Sri Sampradaya. His spiritual master told, I am giving you a secret mantra, don't tell anyone. If you tell anybody else, you will go to hell. So he went on top of a temple tower, and then he said, everybody chant Om Namo Narayanaya, Supreme Personality of God's name, please all of you chant. So everybody started chanting. Then his spiritual master chastised him. Why did you do that? You will go to hell. Oh my dear Guru, I don't mind going to hell if everybody else is going to Vaikuntha. I'm happy. Then the Guru understood the exalted position of his disciple. So the pure devotees are para dukkha dukkis. When they see the suffering of the conditioned souls, they feel pain at heart. So they go out of the way to help them to get out of the situation. That's exactly what we have received from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the acharyas and Srila Prabhupada and his followers. And we are still receiving it. The only way we can get out of all these struggles is to take up to this path more and more seriously. If we think we have disappointment in the heart, if we think we have some lamentation in the heart, then we should understand we still have lots to travel in the path of devotional service. Because when somebody is a devotee, then he should not have any lamentation. That's a sign of a devotee. We should introspect ourselves. If we have a lamentation, do we have any worries? Do we have so many disturbances? That means we have to travel a lot. If you are not able to constantly progress in our devotional service in a determined way, then we should understand something is going wrong with us, not with others, not from others, it is within ourselves. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, when the determination will not be there, bhogaishvarya prasaktanam tayapa hrita chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samayado vidiyate. Something, last line I'm not missing. Samadau na vidiyate, something like that. Bhoga and Aishwarya, we are attached to enjoyment, we are attached to wealth, we are attached to sense enjoyment. As long as we have these thoughts in mind, then the determination, the will to proceed constantly in devotional service will be lagging behind. So we should see how to please devotees, how to satisfy Vaishnavas, how to satisfy the spiritual master, how to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then only these things will go away from us. As long as we make plans and plans for our own enjoyment, for our own gratification of our senses, then that determination will not happen. So this is something, as practicing devotees, we should take these important points and see how we can slowly and steadily imbibe in our day-to-day practice of devotional service, in our devotional life. Then things will slowly, I'm sure, all the devotees who are practicing in ISKCON, they all have gone through the struggle from step by step by step. I remember I used to struggle hard to chant even one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day. One round, it's huge. It's very huge to chant 16 times 108 names. 16 names of 108 times, it's very difficult. But slowly, by constant practice, things improve. But even now, it's very difficult to do pure chanting. So we have to practice again and again and again and again and again. And over a period of time, we will achieve perfection by the mercy of Hari Guru Vaishnavas. So this is the only solution for all of us. This is the only solution for all of us as practicing devotees. Then in due course of time, Krishna will come to our rescue, as Krishna says, Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam payanti. He will give the intelligence, He will give the knowledge through which we can go back to Him. Hare Krishna. If you have any questions or comments, we can discuss now. Yes, Prabhuji. Hare
Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji, for your class. Prabhuji, here there is two classes of people are described here in the Purport. One is that devotees and non-devotees, envious and non-envious. Prabhuji, my query is that are we, the practicing devotees, are responsible for this pandemic? Once again it is coming, we are facing again. 2 years already lost, 2019 and 20. 20 and 21. Again, this is 22 we are again facing. So are we, the practicing devotee, are responsible for that?
Nice question. Why you are taking only pandemic? There are so many things that are happening. Some accident takes place, some tsunami came in, something else happened in the world. These things keep happening in the world. Right? Then we have to ask every time, are we responsible? Terrorists are there. Who is responsible for terrorism in the world? Right? So, the ultimate person, ultimate cause of all causes is Krishna, sarva karana karana. He is the ultimate cause. There is something called as immediate cause and ultimate cause. There are different different reasons for happening or non-happening of certain events. So ultimate cause, without Krishna's will, these things will not happen. We all know that. Without Krishna's will, nothing, not a blade of grass moves. The Kurukshetra War, where millions of people died, millions of soldiers died from both the sides. Who is responsible for that? Is it Dhritarashtra? Is it Duryodhana? Is it Yudhishthira? Who is responsible for that? You understand what I'm saying? So Krishna decides certain things should happen at a particular point in time, and it will happen according to that time. All the other individuals or situations are used as instruments. We all think that we are responsible for certain thing happening or certain thing not happening. In 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, in the 27th verse, Krishna explains it's 3 modes of material nature which does all these things under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who uses time factor, which is one of the points covered in the Purport today, who uses time to activate the 3 modes of nature, which in turn controls various situations in this material world. We are nothing actually. But unfortunately, we think we are responsible for that. While I'm speaking to you, I'm trying to remember that verse. Somehow it's not coming to my mind. So, hope I remember. So it's 3 modes of material nature. That doesn't mean we are not responsible for taking care of certain situation. Of course, within our limits, we have to do our things. If the virus is spreading very fast, we should see within our limited means, whatever we should do that. We are able to do, we should do that. Because this pandemic or whatever happened in the past or what will going to happen in the future, these are all, these material situations this is the nature of the material world. The details are varying. It is given by the name pandemic now. In 1930, different pandemic were there. And then even before that, different war took place. So all these things will happen again and again. These are all the details. But the principle is, material world is dukkhalayam ashashvatam. That is the principle. Material world is full of suffering. It is temporary. So how one gets killed is a detail. How gets one vanquished is a detail. But this is the principle. Principle is this. So instead of worrying about why this happened, who is responsible and all those things, we should start worrying about how we can make use of this existing situation of lockdown and things like that in order to spread Krishna consciousness better and better. That's what all the devotees are doing, which were not widely prevalent before the pandemic. Like devotees can address to any remotest part of the world to spread Krishna consciousness with the help of Zoom or all other media technology and things like that, which was not, although the technology was there, which was not widely used, but this has helped to use that. So that's very important for us to understand. Each and every situation there is, Krishna puts us into different situations so that we can make use of that situation to advance in our devotional service. Whatever situation Krishna puts us in, we should see ways and means, we should find ways and means to remain in Krishna consciousness. So that's the most important point for us to understand. Right? Oh, Krishna has put us in this specific position, so I will not do devotional service today, tomorrow. No, devotional service is not dependent on situations that are prevailing. Bhakti is costless. Bhakti cannot be stopped because of happening or not happening of certain things. Right? When Srila Prabhupada went and met his spiritual master, first meeting, so he asked, oh, India should get independence, after that Chaitanya's message can be spread. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said, no, Chaitanya's instructions cannot wait for India's independence. So that's the clear verdict that we are getting from our Acharya. So the point here is this is just once, if you see the whole timeline of the whole creation, this is one small speck. This too will pass by. So many pandemics we have passed in the past. This too will pass by. When we become very old, our grandchildren will come, we will tell stories about pandemic. Oh, you know what happened in 2019, 2020, 2021, we had a huge pandemic. I heard from my father, in 1930 we had a huge pandemic. And somebody was telling me, some uncle was telling me, oh, we had this World War II, the bombs were there, Japanese bombs and here bomb, all these things. And then India, Pakistan, where. So these are all details. It can be called as pandemic, it can be called World War II, or it can be called Kurukshetra War. All these things are details. But these things will again and again will keep happening. Right? As long as we are in this material world, we will witness all these things. Because that's the nature of this place. People don't have higher intelligence. People don't have proper knowledge, don't have memory. All these things are diminishing day by day, as said in Srimad Bhagavatam. All these qualities are diminishing day by day. Every day, dharma, satyam, shausham, kshama, daya, ayu, balam, smriti, all these things are reducing day by day. What to do? That's the nature of this world. So instead of worrying too much about who is responsible, why it is happening and all, we should start worrying more about what I can do as individual, what we can do as a group of individuals in order to make use of the situation to advance in Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada uses the word, make best use of the bad bargain. This is the situation of this material world. This is a bad bargain that we are all into this material world. But we have to see how to make the best use of it. Yeah? Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam Grantaraj ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo.